So anyway, like I'll not cover most of the like GIS things. What is GIS? Because I know all the participants are belongs to GIS fraternity and GIS community. So I'll not go through theoretical part or technical parts. But as we are celebrating GIS Day, so I'll be touch upon how this evaluation of GIS beyond GIS and what is the career building in GIS and what is the lacking for the current generation and what can we do for the chances of good opportunity or where you can search a very good opportunity. So I'll just already Mansa is explained about myself, but why I'm just showing this screen is before joining before joining ISRO, I'm a non-GIS person. I don't know even what is the full form of GIS before joining that organization, right? And I'm just engineering and masters in computer science. So I'm just purely a software engineer. So 1 year I worked with Bhabha Atomic Center. So that is my MTech thesis. So then I joined ISRO as a research scientist for the water resources information system. Then during my learning, I learned GIS itself. It's not like I have already prepared for the GIS things, as my role is development, software development, right? So in government organization, this is a very good architecture, very good hierarchy. You won't feel suppose I'm a non-GIS person. So there is a lot of opportunity to learn various things. There is a lot of researchers and so many scientists who can teach various themes. Because in the current project, I worked almost 100 thematic layers. As you know, like land use, land cover, soil, water resources, hydrology. That all terms are very new to me. I mean, if you are civil engineers, if you are geography, then somehow what is remote sensing and all. But when you are coming up from this computer science background and you don't know the GIS, then it's a little bit tricky. So I learned during my even career. I mean, it's not so why I'm showing this screen is so many people. I mean, I have seen during this COVID pandemic, and I feel really pain. I mean, you can say to see the struggling of GIS community to look for the job opportunity. There are a lot of laid off. Okay, the loss of job. I mean, lakhs of crores of people are without job. So even if you are having an experience in 10 years or beyond 10 years, people also facing the same issues. It's not like the freshers are only struggling with the COVID and other things. So you just keep in mind this slide. I mean, I came from the computer science background, then I learned GIS, and then I improved myself and the skills which required for sustaining in GIS sector. It's not like I cannot jump into another theme like data science or any other field as I belongs to computer science, but I chosen GIS as my major stream because the GIS is a unique technology. Now, if you see, GIS is everywhere. You can see any domain or any field like agriculture or maybe groundwater, water resources, construction, retail, the social media marketing, everywhere GIS is there. Okay. So I work for 3 national projects. All are India. I mean, it's complete with Ministry of Water Resources, and we have Bhuvan Panchayat, that is another project. And currently I'm working as a lead in National Health Resources Repository. That is a digital health census. This is the first time in our country is happening. So we are collecting all the assets related to health. It's coming from the sub-center to the pharmacy. Each assets has been tagged in a geo and plus photographs. And during my tenure, I got the opportunity to guide so many students from the IITs or maybe NITs, and also 5 MTech students. I also got opportunity to speak as a speaker in one of the Anand University, and also I participated in many training workshop and lectures I have delivered. So I'll not, I mean, what is GIS? As you all aware, right? A geographic the system, information system, it is designed to capture, the manipulate, store, analyze, and manage the data. Right? This is a basic definition everybody knows. Right? So it's an extension of cartography. So we have like created a lot of maps, beautiful maps, and every map has a different meaning. You can say like heat maps, or it's a choropleth map, or some hexagon. There are a lot of maps are there. So it's like part of cartography, and this is allows like individual to analyze. I mean, what is the question? You can interpret the data. You can find something interesting out of the data. Okay. So as you aware of like history of spatial analysis, it's not like this is a very new field. In 1832, the first application was like this cholera outbreak happened. So they have drawn this kind of map and for the 48 districts of Paris. So this is just an example. Okay. So it came in 1832. Then inspired by that application, another application has been used by the John Snow. That is well-known example whenever we talk about any GIS thing, right? So they also like created a map using this GIS spatial analysis in 1854. So the history of GIS evolution, if you talk about it, started in 1854 when this John Snow cholera map is prepared and they have used some kind of disease outbreak. Then if you see the break, I mean 1854 to 1960, it's like a very the area where this computer era has come, right? Because the GIS, like it's depend on like hardware, software, and the people, users, all the things required for the GIS. Then in 1963, the invention of GIS, right? So then the ISRI has come in the picture in the 1965 and 69. And then they have created their first commercial software, that is ArcInfo. Everybody is, even currently also, like people are working, and since old people like our old scientists, so they all very familiar with this ArcInfo tools, right? Then the scenario has changed. The people, thinking beyond the GIS. It's not only the GIS, like, okay, we have some data of, the save files, or maybe it's kind of latitude, longitude. Now people are going beyond the GIS, right? Because the GIS has a capabilities. The location intelligence we are talking about currently. We are having like a lot of data is coming from the sensors that can be like this IoT or a different kind of things, right? So it is evolving, right? Then we have like in 2012 and so on, like until to 2020, there are a lot of changes has been done, right? And if you can see, like the ISRI has created their one product, then they have changed a lot of features. They have created a lot of tools, automation tools. They have integrated with the ISRI. That means GIS is evolving. It's not like they are just doing the work which is already created maybe 20 years back or 50 years back. They are evolving. So this you just linked with yourself also. It's not like if you know one product, or maybe just take example of ArcGIS or ArcMap or maybe ArcMap Pro. It doesn't mean like, so you need to be you can say like every day, or maybe it's kind of evolution in your learning itself. You need to be refresh your current skills. Then only the market demand, or maybe can supply chain, it can be achieved. Otherwise, sustainable, it's very tough for the GIS only things. So like how this trend is changing. So like maybe most of the people knows like this one, the GIS. What is GIS is like, okay, we are dealing with some data and creating some map using some tools like QGIS or maybe ArcGIS. Okay, then we have come up one step ahead. Okay, then it comes WebGIS. That means we are utilizing and we are injecting our data, and also we can use some kind of tools to analyze, to visualize, or you can just play with the data, whatever data you have been prepared in the WebGIS. So you can see like, okay, the IndiaVaris is a portal where we have been use a lot of data and visualization only. Okay, so if you see the current, it has been changed to a decision support system. It's not only the WebGIS part. Now it is every portal. If you seen like dashboard of ArcGIS or maybe any other tools, they have also integrated some kind of decision support system. This is very mandatory. I mean, you can't predict anything like only the visualization of the maps or maybe some data. You need something, the advanced tools which can give you a decision from the data. It's not the only the map part, but you need some kind of support system. So now the WebGIS plus decision support system has come. Then if you talk about the current things, right? So like only maps or maybe some decision support system won't sustain for a long time. Now people are looking beyond those things. Now you have seen a lot of interactive charts. You want some kind of maps. You want some different kind of visualization. If you go through any kind of library, maybe open source or maybe ArcGIS, you will, you will observe like a lot of tools are available to depict your data. It's not only a tabular or it's not only a map part. So now the things are running currently. Trend is the WebGIS also it is there, the decision support system, and plus the geo analytics. And sometimes people are using like if you see the known GIS things, business intelligence tools. Okay, so you need something, some intelligence out of the data. So it required. So current trend is like if you see any portal, if without these tool, this won't be sustained. The only visualization is not at all. What you can say like popular. You need this kind of tools to popularize GIS or maybe some kind of insight. If I give you some example of EO Factory, right? So what they have done some good analytics tool on the cloud, right? You no need to download the package in your system. Everything is online. You can do some image processing. So that is what they have done some lot of research and develop. They have done something good tools so that you can directly use. So no need to install in your system. It is available online, cloud. You can access from anywhere. Like ArcGIS Pro, now it is very much familiar. Popular. So this is kind of trend right now in GIS. So anyway, like history is very long. It's not like GeoPortal has come today. It started with 1993 when first map server based this map viewer has come. Then 1994, the worldwide earthquake locator has evolved. Some mashups, interactive web mapping comes. Then in 94, the National Atlas of Canada, their first online atlas has been developed, right? Then if you see in 96 MapQuest, every tools, right? So the thing is like things are evolving. It's not like we are using some product which is very older than 50 years and all. So every day you will see a lot of changes in GIS technology, or you can say in GIS spatial domain. Then you can see like Autodesk has come. Then 97 USGS. So these are some famous GeoPortal history. Then in 2001 GeoServer is there. Then 98 obviously Esri has produced this map object. Then suddenly one evolution has come in a form of Google Maps, right? So in 2005 Google Maps has launched, and like how it has changed everything. Once this Google Map has launched, everything is available on map, and they have improved a lot of things. They have introduced new tools with the Google's like Google Earth. OpenLayer has come. Then Wikimedia, you can map everything on satellite imagery. They have also given tools like you can map your own houses or some kind of tool they have produced. Then in India we don't have any mapping tools that time. So in 2009 very similar functionality like how this Google Maps works. Uh, we have also developed some Bhuvan India Geo portal. So that time people are comparing, right? You have seen a lot of articles like Google versus Bhuvan Geo portal, and it's a similar functionality and all. So this is anyway. So everybody is now into GIS thing. You have seen like Nokia, Apple, now Here Maps is also there. So everybody is into GIS. That means GIS has a potential, right? That means there are a lot of opportunities there. If GIS has nothing, then I don't think this companies has, and even if you see about the future, so many companies are involving in GIS. They are also creating their own mapping libraries like Mapbox, and even we will heard maybe Reliance will launch, something good for in GIS things. So that is unpredictable. So this is the thing, like you also, you just interrelate my PPT with if people are looking for some job, if they are struggling, or maybe if you are not learning. So this is why I'm saying all these things, like if tools are, evolving or they are adding some improvement, then why not us? It's not like you have to depend on only one technologies, or you just, okay, I'm just doing digitization, or you just profile will be like, okay, data analysis or geo analyst kind of things, right? So you need to be, learning. Every day you have to learn, because GIS is not one definition. It has lot of components, and if you see in the future, it's going to be a very demanding. So as I told you, like in past, what we seen, static maps, right? Or maybe some paper-based map, or some visualization tools like, okay, zoom in, zoom out, or maybe some panning or static charts. There is no dynamic things are available. Once and currently what we'll see is like Web 2.0 is suddenly changed a lot of things. Everything is dynamic, right? Once you change some data, it will automatically reflected in on the fly. There are a lot of tools you can handle, layer controls, legends. You can do some query on the fly, and we have dashboards, right? Static dashboards, and a lot of things are available. But in future, if you see, so this Google Earth Engine has a very fantastic kind of tools evolve or developed by them, and I think most of the people are using. Not most of the people, everybody is using their potential, right? And second is the Vedas. I don't know how many people has heard this name, but this Vedas is by the Space Application Center, Ahmedabad. So they have also created one kind of ecosystem where you can do some image processing on the fly, and you can download some data, and they have done a very good job. And similarly, the EO Factory, right? So I have also explored this particular platform. It's a wonderful. So a lot of algorithms they have integrated, so you can do a lot of good things in a very minutes or seconds of time, which if you see the past, you can't do it in a maybe 1 or 2 days. It required a lot of efforts. It required hardware, your resources, everything. So this is the kind of evolution. Okay, this is kind of tools which we have. We can do it some kind of decision on the fly, maybe in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, which is not possible in past. Okay. So online data processing, now it is possible. The online data processing, which is like already available, this kind of features in EO Factory or Google Earth Engine, right? So in the earlier, we only visualize our data, right? We don't have any, kind of interface where others can also integrate their data, and they can do some analysis with the uploaded data versus your data. So now this is the facility. If you have some data, your study area in GIS, you can put your data, and you can play around with the existing data, and you can do some studies. And this is very good, beneficial for the researchers. Okay, because I know the getting the data of your study area is cumbersome job, right? Even if you write so many mails to maybe ISRO, NRSC, or maybe any government departments, you won't get that much easily, right? But after this kind of tools, this is kind of, uh, the researchers are like very relaxed now because they have already data. They want to introduce their algorithms. They want to, put their efforts on thinking on the algorithms and methodology, not how to get the data, writing so many mails or waiting for so long time, maybe 1 month, 2 months, and then suddenly you want to showcase your output or results. So this is kind of, now this is dynamic dashboards. Now on the fly, you can, a lot of charts can be created. Okay, if you click on maps, it will change a lot of things based on your selection. You can choose area, point of interest data. And now in GIS, big data and IoT has come. Right, because we have a lot of data. If you want to process some kind of things, so it required big data to handle those, databases. So it's not like now you have only one databases or save files you deal with. So a lot of framework has come to deal with big data. And as I told, like now data is flowing. So like you heard, like data is like oil, right? The fuel, or it's kind of, means every seconds you will get a lot of TBs or GBs of data because of IoT sensors. Now everything is in your, giving a data, even your mobile or maybe your, smart watches or everything, they are flowing your data. So for those data, you need some kind of big data ecosystem. That's why the big data as concept comes to handle those data. And obviously GIS has a lot of data, and if you want to do some kind of analysis, it required some kind of resources. So this is another good field, or you can say a very good opportunity for our, people who are working with GIS. Now the new concept has come, like blockchains. So you need to think like how this blockchains can be utilized in where, like your wherever, like currently if you see, we have revenue departments, we have land records. So obviously if you have in one databases, it can be a crash, or maybe it kind of forgery with those data. So blockchain can be a very good revolution, like if it is implemented very well for the GIS purpose. And now this indoor mapping is nowadays very kind of things, like very cool things, because we know like in the indoor things we doesn't have any proper accuracy, right? If you are using your GPS, it won't give you like accurate things. So now so many people are working on indoor mapping, and a lot of different GPSs comes, which is, and like suppose take example like malls. Suppose if you want to travel from one shop to another shop, so you can use inside your malls the navigations. This kind of new use cases has come up, which is very good sign for a GIS community. If there is a lot of potential of GIS, that means demand will increase. Demand will increase. That means job opportunity will increase. But how you will fulfill? If you don't know these technologies, then how can you get or grab those opportunity, right? So you need to come out with your comfort zone, or maybe kind of not the comfort zone, but you have to up the skills. You have to think on, because potential is very high for the GIS per se, technology say. So, but you need to see how can you achieve those things. So this is just for like maybe so many people knows what is open source or what is proprietary or paid software, but I have given some kind of comparisons based on my experience or my earlier experience with 3 national projects, because I'm into a development per se, right? So, and also like we have compared a lot of technologies before finalizing, right? So why we have choose this, all we have done. So for suppose if you want to do some web development, right? And if you want to choose some user interface, so there is a 2 part. Okay, So Angular, EXJS, jQuery is very common. So you can use, if you are going for a paid software, then we have Flex, Adobe. Then if you want some web mapping 2D, then we have framework like OpenLayers, Leaflet, and MapMyIndia is also giving kind of API which can be used for the web mapping part. Okay, then if you talk about the paid, so obviously there is no comparison with ArcGIS based softwares, ArcGIS APIs, which is very robust, but it can be, it depends on like what kind of projects you are making. If you're a researcher, if you're just learning, so I'll say, okay, the open source is good, but if you're working with some client or maybe some government organization, so they will prefer, okay, some kind of proprietary APIs like ArcGIS or Google Maps or Mapbox. Then if you are working on a 3D part, then we have WebGL, CGM, NOL, CGM, OpenLayers, CGM, and similarly ArcGIS, Google and Here Maps is available. And there are a lot of library for, client side topology suite. I mean, if you want to use some kind of geoprocessing task on the fly, then a lot of open source are available, like Turf, OpenLayers stuff. And these all tables are like, you can say like I've used personally. It's not like I have copied from any resources, because I know this personally, how it works and what is the performance and what is the chooses. I mean, based on the work we need to complete. So based on your requirement and based on your, what your project is, you can use this kind of tools. And obviously, like in Oracle, databases, other than your save file, you have Oracles and then Postgres, then MySQL, a lot of things are available. And obviously, like you need to handle your databases. One database may not be sufficient, because we need some kind of, analysis, big data, reporting. So it can be, you can choose any kind of, databases, like a GPU based database are available, columnar databases are available. So personally, I have implemented ClickHouse. It's a columnar database, right? You can store many thousands of columns in one single table, and you can query very easily. Very milliseconds, you can get the results, right? And if you are into a data collection projects, if you are just using some kind of small projects where you need some data collection, so personally I have used some international certified open data kit tools. That is very good tool if somebody is in don't have much budget and he want to do some kind of data collections. So this is very good tool. It is available freely. You can download from Play Store with Open Data Kit, right? You can it's similar to Survey 123 you have seen for Esri ArcGIS collector and or Google Forms. This is same. And obviously I talk about now GIS, not only GIS. So we need to integrate kind of business intelligence with the GIS. You need some kind of data lake. So these all tools I have explored in my career. You can say a very good tool is Superset from the Apache. It's open source, TabX and DreamIO data lake, so that you can connect various databases. It's more than 100 databases you can connect using this DreamIO. And obviously many of you heard about Tableau and the Microsoft Power BI, right? So this is very popular BI tools are available. And one interesting things are, now they are also creating tools for GIS. When it is started, Power BI, I worked in 2015, there is only one or two tools are available. I can visualize map or maybe some kind of heat maps. But now this community is also creating tools for GIS. As I told you, now GIS is demanding. So without, you can see any kind of dashboard, at least you will get one map. Without map, nobody is creating any kind of dashboard. If it is retail, if it is insurance, reinsurance, or if it is maybe kind of a building construction or any kind of things, you can see the GIS importance. This is kind of popularity. It's not like without GIS, nobody is creating dashboard nowadays. You can see during COVID, so many people have created dashboard using Isri, whatever they have given some free templates. Everybody in every state has the same kind of dashboards are available. That means obviously there are certain things which is visualized through the location only. You can't just theoretically, okay, something is available at this location, until unless you can see on the maps. And if not on the map locations, you need some kind of overlay layers, satellite imagery, then only you will feel, okay, yeah, this is the location. Or maybe kind of 10 years back, some detection, change detection things. So you can see like the importance, and then you learn. It's not like somebody has just asked, okay, ISRO is working in GIS, then might be your dream company, ISRO, or maybe some kind of different agencies, right? But don't think like that. There is beyond. The learning is. If you ask me, then you will learn more beyond this your dream things, right? So just think. You have very good potential, right? You have great career, you have great potential, you have great unique skills. I'll tell you, as a software engineer, even I don't have much knowledge on this, right? 100%, because you have very basic knowledge from starting. You have very good core concept, but we as a computer science people will learn while working. So the concept of just learning and your core subjects, right? So don't underestimate your values. Okay. So just you need to do is like you need to learn, something skills which is required now. It's not like you can sustain with your current existing skills. So you just need to see the market, and based on the market demand or maybe a requirement, you have to create your ecosystem. You need to create yourself for the market. So anyway, like this is the very famous geo portal across the world. Okay, like NSDI, the National Spatial Data Infrastructure already created. Then we have Indian Geospatial Open Data Portal where you can download the data. Everybody is putting their data in one centralized system. Then we have NIC server. Then we have Bhuvan, Varis, Panchayat. So you have very, very good fair of data is available for you for your research, and a lot of data is available. KGS very fantastically. They are even providing your base layers free of cost. All the save files are available. Then globally, if you talk about your ArcGIS online is available, Geos is available. Then Europe, then Spire Geo portal hai. Then we have Russian portals are available, UK data portal. Then you have USA. A lot of portals are available. Very famous geo portals are available, which are giving the visualization as well as data repository, and a lot of tools are available as per your research and as per your need. So the evolution of stages and trends in technologies, previously people are working in closed websites, right? Now people are very open. They are considering their open geospatial web services, OGC standards, right? So that others can also utilize same the web services in their portal. Initially, the only one-way communication is there, right? But now there is two-way information flow. You can get the data and you can just put the data. It's not like the only you can just visualize, okay, this is the data. But now you can play with the data is available with GeoSystem. Now the portal technology is very essential. Now if you see, the tools are converting into a online portal. Like ArcGIS, ArcMap is previously desktop based. Now they have converted fully like ArcGIS online, ArcGIS Pro. And recently I heard they're also closing their 10.8 Arc desktop. So ArcMap this thing. So obviously everything will be in a portal, online portal, or maybe you can cloud. Then the cloud GIS is now accepted as a primary way of delivering GIS functions, right? Now nobody will want their own servers, their own setups, right? If everything is available in cloud, then just you need to be access those contents from anywhere or any platform. And mobile is also very becoming the pervasive WebGIS client platform. Now people is from moving from 2D to 3D, then virtual reality, then extended reality, then a lot of things are coming up in the like things. Previously data source are like static, right? Now the things are in real time. You have seen a lot of weather forecasting stations. They're giving the real time your data, some water levels for the forecasting stations, lot of things, and we are getting a lot of temporal data. I mean, for one position we are giving data in very each seconds. So we have a lot of temporal data available in us. And now the WebGIS is very smart now and more intelligent. If you just seen, last 10 years or something, now it's more smarter and more intelligent. So I'm not going to tell like how you can, branding yourself. So obviously there is, if you see the last 1 or 2 months, like I've been, exploring a lot of profiles, because now LinkedIn has put some open to work or maybe kind of tag, so that recruiters will identify, okay, this person is like looking for job or kind of things. So in my connection, a lot of people are having like 20 years experience, they lost jobs, okay, and maybe some freshers who is struggling with jobs, and maybe a lot of things are, I have explored like a lot of 100 profiles, right? And I really feel, it's painful, because you have a great potential, right? You are from like, you have done some masters and from very good colleges, but still you are facing some problem, right? So as you know, like GIS is in demand, right? So what is required? So it required obvious experience, but maybe some of you will tell, okay, will ask, okay, how, if you don't have any job, then how will you get the experience, right? So this will talk later, experience things. Then you need some ability, obviously, like once you have some kind of degree, then obviously you have some knowledge and you want some growth in your, career, then it required some advanced training. It's not like just you have gone through your curriculum. So it required some kind of, advanced training. Then you need some knowledge and competency. Then learning is always like daily learning is essential for any field. And if you are whether into computer science, daily one programming is, evolving. Daily, if you close your eyes, tomorrow you will get one another language, okay? And obviously training. So these all skills which you can like required for, grab some good opportunity. And this is the thing, right? So if you can see this triangle I've created, so most of the people from the geography background, right? Maybe something BA or maybe related to this, right? And they need to, obviously they will go for some maybe MSc in remote sensing or kind of, some further studies. So they have good core knowledge of geography and remote sensing, right? But if you see, the university course curriculum is always same. If you are in 2020 and what is current GIS scenario, right? And what it required to grab some good opportunity, or maybe what could be done for your future. But still, your university course curriculum will be same maybe for the last 10 years or maybe 5 years. I don't know. I'm not saying for any particular university, but I have gone through very good 2-3 universities, because I have seen a lot of my geo friends who are like struggling. So I have gone through those curriculum. Then I found like there are a lot of subjects are there, right? They are teaching maybe all the sectors, maybe agriculture, land use, your everything related to GIS and remote sensing or whatever. But when you talk about the geoinformatics, right? So somewhere it required programming. Whether you are very good experts in remote sensing, you can just visualize, okay, if I tell you one image, you can tell like everything, like okay, resolution, what is satellite is there. But for current market, it required some knowledge about the programming. I'll tell you, but so many people have fear about the programming, right? So I'll just tell you one thing, like maybe in this, all the participants, so many people, even I can say one good name is like Krishna ji, right? And Sumed. If you see so many people's profile, they have learning daily. I mean, they have grown up from their, the actual background to their, the current scenario. They have adopted their current scenario. It's not like they're just keeping their one subjects. Okay, I'm just expert in remote sensing, then I'll just look for this job only. You have to take a challenge. You have to accept the market demands, because so many, I mean, if you see the job description, you will get, they are asking, I mean, not only the remote sensing person, they want programmer, they want some kind of, networking guy, everything they have put in job description. But I'll tell you, just apply. I mean, it's not required. I mean, just fear, okay, I'm not matching with the skills and I cannot apply, right? Whatever HRs, human resource team, they are having some kind of, description. They have not have full description about the position, right? So they will just copy and paste some of the requirements and then put some, okay, we need some kind of this expertise. So I just, so if you see, if you are just obviously from geography to remote sensing, it's very low learning. But obviously from remote sensing to spatial data science, or you can say the data visualization, it has a high learning curve. Right. So if you see the current scenario, it required knowledge about data science, the basic science. I mean, I'm not saying like expert in this area, because obviously this is recently evolved. This ML, who knows? I mean, last 5 years or 10 years, right? And who knows like AI? It's not the latest. I mean, latest things. It has been into like long time, right? But currently they are in booming. Everybody is just talk about data science, machine learning, AI, artificial intelligence, or maybe augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality. Okay, so obviously this is a high learning curve. But if you just and if you see this salary part, if I say if you are just a geography and remote sensing, then obviously you will get according to that salary range. But very frankly, I mean, very disheartened, like the herd, I mean, from various students, like, because my nature is like, whenever somebody is asking any kind of reference or help, I'll ask not the things, but okay, how much they are getting, or maybe, so I'll just think like very low salary. I mean, expert, right? But somehow I feel a remote sensing person or GIS person is underestimate their values. You are just equivalent to any kind of software engineers. Or if you see the various type of categorization of software analysts or data analysts, if you just compare both the salaries, you will see ultimately work are same, the job designation are same, the even work is more challenging. You need to everybody doesn't have a sense of colors. When you are working with the remote sensing, you have to be very good with your colors, right? Identification, analyzing, the interpretation of data or satellite imaging. I don't have that much of skills, but if you are just mixed some additional I mean some kind of skills, it will grow your career. It's not like so just keep in mind that I mean you need to be definitely, I mean, if you want to sustain in the current market or the current demand or market demand, you have to be just increase your skills. I'm not saying you need all this ML AI things, but you should have like patience to learn, because you have a unique feature, GIS, right? So many programmers you will get. I mean, if you just talk about any person, he is computer science programmer anyway, but the GIS is very rare. and this is a unique things, and this is the thing I have always preferred to work in GIS domain, because everybody cannot learn GIS easily, right? But everybody can code. So you have a very unique things. So if you just learn very few programming, or maybe kind of one or two programming with your subjects, core subjects, definitely you will be in high position. This is not like mandatory. So many people get good job with remote sensing as well. Like if you heard, any government departments. But I'm just talking about the IT industry. IT current scenario. So it required some more level of skills other than your core subjects. So obviously for computer science also we always learn new language. It's not like we only know the Java or C++. Now it has like more than 50 language or maybe 100 language. Every day there is a one language born. You can just close your eyes. So that's just I am sharing my things. You just take care, or if you need any kind of help, right, you can ping me or anywhere. Like or if you can see like my LinkedIn, it's not like I'm making some kind of branding like a social media experts, or they have very good things, right? But I'm not going to do that. Like I want to create building my profile, right? I'm just sharing only GIS related jobs, right? Because I know how the people are struggling. And one of my not friend, just LinkedIn friend, daily I'm getting good morning sir message, and since last 30 to 40 days from the lockdown started, and you can see my WhatsApp also, the good morning sir. So this is a determination, or you can say like how he's desperately searching for jobs, but I'm unable to help, because whenever I just forward a resume or maybe talk with somebody, they need some additional skills, right? Whether you have a 10-year skills or 20-year skills, but they want some additional skills, that is some kind of small programming. Because obviously companies started with some kind of profit, they want some kind of revenue, so they don't want to put their money to two person. They want some kind of mixed person. Okay, if he knows some little bit programming, he knows GIS, then it's sufficient. Serve the purpose. This is the thing. Yeah, so this is the last slide. So it's not like using GIS technology is not my goal, but giving back to GIS community is my passion. So what I'm doing is, it's not like only GIS is my goal. So I'm also now started giving back. So whenever somebody is coming, so I definitely, mentoring and maybe kind of guidance I'm giving them, or yeah. So this is from my side, and happy GIS day to all of my Geo friends. So I wish you all the best with my last slide.
Thanks, Rahul. Thank you so much. The session was indeed, very deep, and you told us about various technologies as well as skills that needs to be updated. With that note, particularly, since we have a time limit at 8 p.m., we have only 3 to 4 minutes left. Shubham, can you conclude this session with your ending notes? Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. This is Shubham. Our topic was GIS evolution in career, building a strong foundation. So in this today's beautiful presentation by Mr. Rahul Sharma, we mainly discussed about what is GIS, history of spatial analysis and GIS evolution, geoportal history, past, present and future trends, wherein which past trends were having static maps, static charts and basic visualization. In present, we are having dynamic maps, advanced visualization and static dashboards. And future trends might be using cloud computing, online data processing, dynamic dashboards, and indoor mapping. After that, we discussed about free and open source tools versus paid and licensed tools for UI, 2D and 3D mapping, GIS server, database servers, field surveys, data lake, and business intelligence tools. Then we discussed about geoportals, which are there across the world for different countries. And after that, the evolution of stages and trends in technologies. And in the last, that was the most important part, I can say, the career in GIS and important skills required. So I hope that all the skills discussed will be very helpful for our participants. And once again, thanks to Mr. Rahul Sharma for sharing his vast experience and all the guidance provided. So over to you, Sumit. Thanks.
Yes, Shubham. Thank you so much for the conclusion. You're facing some internet issues from my side, so apologies for that. Thank you, Rahul, for the amazing session. People who have the questions, Rahul sir, can you post your email ID in the group so that people can reach out to you if they have any particular questions with respect to career and skills that needs to be adopted?
Yeah, sure, Sumit. Yeah. It is there. I have sent it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I've already joined.
Yeah, thanks, Rahul. Rahul has put his email ID. It's rahul.rrsc@gmail.com. You guys can reach. Thank you so much, Rahul. Happy GSD to all of you. We can end the meeting here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sumit.
Happy GIS Day. Happy GIS Day, everyone.
Yes, yes.